St. Patrick's Day is now a secular celebration in which all the world becomes Irish. Such statements, of course, annoy the real Irish no end. Everyone wants to have the luck of the Irish, they say, and no whit of our troubles. 1. The most famous legend regarding St. Patrick is that he rid Ireland of snakes by ringing his bell from the top of Croagh Patrick, the 2,500 feet tall, conical mountain near Westport. Of course this isn't true, but makes for an amusing anecdote. The mountain, however, has become a place of annual pilgrimage. There is an ancient church at the top, and at the base a natural spring well known as Patrick's Well or Tober Padraig. St. Patrick supposedly baptized the first Irish converts at this well. 2. St. Patrick is also supposed to have rid Ireland, specifically County Donegal, of a fierce lake monster. After he had killed it, the blood turned the lake red, and so since then the lake has been known as Red Lake or Loch Derg. It is now a pilgrimage place and many people go there between the 1st of June and the 15th of August in the fond hope that the journey will rid them of all their sins. 3. It is wholly due to St. Patrick's French sojourn that hawthorn bushes bloom in the winter in the Loire Valley. He crossed the Loire River, hung his cape to dry on a hawthorn bush, and that is how this miracle came about. 4. St. Patrick did not always have a saintly temper. Sometimes he lost it and let the curses fly. Some of his curses, with the help of geographical occurrences, worked, like the one that made a certain field sink under the sea and thereby useless for cultivation. St. Patrick's oxen had been refused permission to graze there, and that had riled him a bit. 5. St. Patrick had a strong sense of justice. Once he cured a blind man, but a certain individual who had laughed at the blind fellow promptly went blind alongside. 6. According to legend, wearying of St. Bridget's constant complaints about the traditional social mores requiring women to wait for marriage proposals to come their way or forget about the matter entirely, St. Patrick instituted the practice of allowing women to propose to men on a leap year. The reason he didn't make it an everyday occurrence can perhaps be gleaned from the fact that on the very next leap year he found himself on the receiving end of a proposal from St. Bridget herself. He couldn't withstand the constant complaints, he would have been plowed down by the constant proposals. 7. St. Patrick brought public attention to the humble shamrock, after using a 3-leafed specimen to explain the concept of the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, to the pagan king Leogair of Tara. 8. St. Patrick incorporated pagan elements into Christianity to make the religion more palatable to the new converts. 9. St. Patrick built the first church in Ireland at Magennies. 10. St. Patrick's favorite color was blue, not green, and the people of Ireland too weren't exactly fond of green. According to them it was the color of the fairies and leprechauns and, unless you wanted to forcibly join the ranks of these wee folks, you would refrain from sporting that color too often. It wasn't until the 19th century that green became the official color of Ireland. 11. St. Patrick ordered that after death he be buried wherever the oxen pulling his funeral cart stopped. They reportedly didn't go further than down Patrick, so he's buried somewhere there. 12. People didn't actually start praying to St. Patrick until the 8th century AD. The Vatican followed suit much later. 13. The first hymn to be composed in Ireland was composed in St. Patrick's honor. It was called, appropriately enough, Hymn in Patrick's Praise, was composed by St. Secnall, and ran to 23 stanzas. 14. It is not known when exactly St. Patrick's Day began to be celebrated outside Ireland, but the first written description comes from Jonathan Swift, the author of Gulliver's Travels, who mentions the celebrations of 1713 in London. According to him, the Westminster Parliament took a holiday on this day and all the public buildings had green decorations. 15. The first St. Patrick's Day parade in America was held in Boston on the 17th of March 1737, and the practice began in New York on the 17th of March 1762. Chicago followed suit later and has a tradition, Since 1962 of dyeing the Chicago River green with vegetable dyes. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated all over now and is the longest-running civilian parade in the world, a secular celebration in which all the world becomes Irish. Such statements, of course, annoy the real Irish no end. Everyone wants to have the luck of the Irish, they say, and no whit of our troubles. 16. Strangely, though it's only been 75 years since Dublin began having a St. Patrick's Day parade, and even more peculiarly, until 1995, the Dublin pubs used to be closed on this national holiday. 17. St. Patrick's Day began to be celebrated on the Caribbean island of Montserrat in the 17th century. Thanks to Oliver Cromwell of England, many Irish went to Montserrat to escape him. 18. On St. Patrick's Day, you can bring yourself good luck by finding a four-leaf clover, wearing green, and kissing the Blarney Stone. 19. In 1900, Queen Victoria decreed that Irish regiments should wear the shamrock on St. Patrick's Day in memory of the Irish soldiers killed in the Boer War. 20. A large percentage of Catholic cathedrals the world over are named after St. Patrick.